Managed stage is where most people come to us. A lot of them come right out of their first crisis. Those are the lucky ones because they haven't been exposed to all of the negativity around bipolar. They haven't yet bought into the idea that bipolar is this permanent illness. Well, a lot of other people come to us after years of buying into that paradigm. It's pretty hard for them to jump out of that paradigm because it's so ingrained inside of them. In either case, we're lucky to have a program that'll help us get out of this in-ordered cycle. Managed stage is where it all begins. During the crisis, remember, there isn't a whole lot we can do about it. We just need to get out of that crisis. Well, in a way, managed is a form of crisis also if you look at it from the point of view of self-mastery. We're having a flow of energy and information that is too much for us. It's kind of a form of crisis that we need to make go away. So we need to look at this as a priority. Make the flow of energy and information go away. So the goals of managed stage are similar to the goals of crisis stage in that we have to make it go away as soon as possible. What's different about the two is that we're not in a place where we're a danger to ourselves or others, and we're not in a total panic around it. Now, if you look at the literature, you go online and you read all of the blogs and all of the people talking about bipolar, they're usually sharing their tools for managed stage. They're looking at ways to go from manage back to recovery. And a lot of them have gotten to recovery, but then they're right back into managed stage again. And that's very typical. We should get really, really good at getting out of managed stage into recovery. We're going to have a lot of practice at it. Even the people who move on and go into freedom stage, as you're working on the freedom stage, there are many times where you overshoot and end up wrapping back around into managed stage again. So these skills of taking a flow of energy and information, let's say the normal 40%, which is where people usually say they are when they're in one of the lower levels of managed stage, taking it down from 40% to 0 or 40% to 10 is what we're talking about doing here. So we're going to use all of the tools at our disposal. Now, medicine is a controversial tool because there are many who look at it as a religion. They're only willing to listen to you if you're going to say medicine is necessary. There are others, their religion is anti-medicine, so they won't even listen to you if you're not saying medicine is evil. Well, by now you've probably figured out we're somewhere in between. We have a more nuanced view towards that. Medicine is an incredibly valuable tool, especially in the managed stage when our need is to lower the flow of energy and information. So let's not discount that as the most powerful tool we have at our disposal. And since our priority is to lower the flow of energy and information as fast as we possibly can, let's use the best tool there is for it. Cognitive therapies are another very powerful tool for helping that process. The combination of medicine and therapy is proven to be a very effective method for getting us there. Well, a lot of people talk about mindfulness in cognitive therapy. Mindfulness is kind of a vague term that may mean meditation and may mean just paying attention throughout the day. We've broken that into different categories and look at specifically what meditations specifically were designed for us to do that. Well, unfortunately, in the managed stage, it's really hard to begin a meditation practice. So you want to start out with the really easy stuff and turn it into a habit before you go too far with it. So at this stage, we're learning how to recognize and choose the tools that we want to assemble to make this happen. We're picking out the ones that seem to have the most effect and also are most willing to use. And we're going to learn how to use those skills. As we learn and develop our skills, we get better and better at reducing all the flow of energy information, both from mania and from depression, and bringing ourselves to a state that we would call recovery, reducing the symptoms, reducing the flow of energy and information. Everything else is a distraction from that goal. So we don't really want to start working on a long-term life plan yet because that's going to come later. Right now, our plan is to make this go away. The other issue about making a long-term plan is there tends to be a lot of negativity when we look at things from the managed stage. We're wanting to get rid of things. We're wanting to settle for a life that doesn't have any of this flow of energy and information. So our tendency is to create a plan that says, if I could only get to recovery, that would be a great life. And we'll settle for things that are far less than our dreams and aspirations. So we might want to wait until we're more into the freedom stage and we're starting to see potentials and possibilities before we start thinking of that. As a matter of fact, we really build the real life plan when we're approaching the stability stage, because now we start thinking about, where am I going to go with my career and my relationships and all the other parts of my life. So for right now, let's make the plan. I'm going to learn the tools, I'm going to get good at these tools, and I'm going to learn to make the flow of energy and information reduce so that I can get to recovery as soon as possible. Now, I've already mentioned we're going to do this loop. We go from managed stage to recovery, and before freedom stage was put into the picture, we would loop back to crisis and managed stage and recovery, and loop back to managed stage and recovery. Once we add freedom stage into that, we're going to loop into freedom stage, work in that area, but we're inevitably going to loop back to managed stage and potentially back to another crisis sometime as we learn how to understand ourselves better and learn to be much better with the tools. So the process here needs to be focused on lowering the flow of energy and information, getting to recovery as soon as possible, and developing the skills to make that happen.